A very warm welcome to all the students. This is the last lecture of Unit 3, in which whatever things which are remaining we are going to discuss. So there is a concept called as closure properties of context-free languages that we are going to discuss. There are in fact 6 closure properties that are listed here. So it goes like this: if L1 and L2 are two context-free languages, then the union of the two languages L1 and L2, that means L3 equal to L1 union L2, is also found to be context-free language. So in general, union of two context-free languages is a context-free language. The second closure property says concatenation of L1 and L2, where L1 and L2 again are context-free languages. So concatenation of L1 and L2, that is L3 equal to L1 dot L2, is also a context-free language. Third property is for closure or clean star. It says clean star of L1, that is L3 equal to L1 star, is also a context-free language. So the first three properties, okay, they tell you that union, concatenation and clean star. Okay, first three properties tell you that union, concatenation and clean star, these are the operators when they are applied to two context-free languages. The resultant language happens to be also a context-free language. Now the fourth closure property is of intersection. It says intersection of two context-free languages L1 and L2, that is L3 equal to L1 intersection L2, is not context-free. So intersection of two context-free languages, the resultant language that we get is not context-free language. Similarly, the fifth property says complement of L1, that is L3 equal to L1 star. If L1 is known to be context-free, the complement of L1 is not a context-free language. And the last property, sixth property, says the set difference of two context-free languages, that is L3 equal to L2 minus L1, is also not context-free. Now you must be remembering that in the second unit, okay, when I was discussing the closure properties of regular languages, okay, we had seen some proofs. What kind of proofs? If L1 and L2 is a regular language, then L1 dot L2, prove that L1 dot L2 is also regular, and so on. Similar proof mechanisms are also there for context-free languages. So I would like to ask you to refer handwritten notes. In my handwritten notes you will find the proofs, solved proofs, and also on the textbook, okay, the PDF that I am going to share, in that also you will find the proofs of each of this property. Okay, so please go through the proofs of each of these properties. We move on to the very last concept that is remaining in your third unit, and that is pumping lemma for context-free languages. Now we have also discussed pumping lemma for regular languages in Unit 2. So here pumping lemma for context-free languages is not same, it is slightly different than the pumping lemma for your regular languages. So it is basically used to prove that given language is not context-free. Okay, let us see the lemma. A valid string x in the given language L of the length greater than some n is chosen. So first what we do, we say that let n be a arbitrary value. Let n be arbitrary value. Then you should choose a valid string x in the given language such that the length of this x string should be greater than that n. Okay. Now that string x that we have considered, the string is divided into 5 parts. In the regular language pumping lemma, we used to divide the string into 3 parts, u, v, w, whereas in this pumping lemma for context-free language, we divide the string into 5 parts, namely p, q, r, s and t, okay, such that x equal to p, q, r, s, t, such that the following conditions are satisfied. The first condition is the together length of q and s, the together length of q and s, it should be greater than 0. That means it should not be null. The together length of q and s, okay, the together length of q and s should not be null. It should be greater than 0. It cannot be 0. When length is 0, the string is null. And the second thing is the together length of QRS. So when you consider Q, R and S, okay, the together length of QRS should be less than or equal to n value that we have considered. Okay, so when we do this, third, then for M, for the value of M, now M is nothing but it is called as pumping length. So for M greater than equal to 0, okay, so M will start from 0 till infinity. For every value of M, we check if the string P Q raised to M, R S raised to M T, if it belongs to the language L. Now for any value of M greater than equal to 0, if we are able to show that the string P Q raised to M, R S raised to M T, it does not belong to the language, then the lemma concludes that the language L itself is not a context-free language. Okay, so this is the proof, this is the lemma basically for pumping lemma for context-free language. Okay, so now without wasting time, let us quickly solve a problem. So we have a problem at our disposal. We are supposed to prove that this given language L equal to A raised to P, B raised to P, C raised to P, such that P greater than equal to 1, this language is not a context-free language. Okay, so let's solve this. So I will say let n, which is arbitrary value, let's say equal to 5. Okay, okay. Now the string that we take, the length of that string should be greater than n. So let us consider a valid string of length 6. Okay, because 6 is greater than 5, n, correct? So let the string x, a valid string x be AA, BB and CC, okay, be a valid string. Okay, so let this x be a valid string such that length of x is equal to 6, okay, which is greater than the value of n. Fine. Now let this string x be split into 5 parts. 5 parts such that x equal to P Q R S T as follows. Okay, so what I will do, this first A, the first A that is there, okay, let this be P. Okay, next A and B, let this be Q. Then single B, let this be R. Single C be S, and last C be T. Okay, I am randomly doing it, but while doing it, we have to also see that the conditions are satisfied. Okay, so P is single A, Q is say AB, R is single B, S is single C, and T is single C, such that, what is the first criteria? Length of QS is equal to, now the length of Q is 2 and S is 1, so together length of QS is 3, which is greater than 0. Okay, so first condition is satisfied. And the second condition, length of QRS, so you can see length of Q is 2, R is 1, 3, okay, length of Q is 2, R is 1, that is 3, and S is also 1, 4. Okay, so length of QRS is actually here 4, and 4 is greater than, it should be less than or equal to n, right? So what is n? N is already considered as 5. We have taken n equal to 5. So 4 is less than or equal to n. Okay, why? Because n is 5. Okay, so the second condition is also satisfied. Now for the value of m equal to 0, 1, 2 and so on, we have to see whether the string is not accepted. Okay, now when m is equal to 0, okay, when m equal to 0, the string p q raised to m, that is 0, r s raised to m, that is 0, t can be written as p will be a, q will not be repeated, r is single b, s will not be repeated, t is also single c. Okay, now the valid strings are what? Number of a's, number of b's and number of c's in the given string should be equal. Now for this a, b, c, equal number of a's, b's and c's. So this string, it belongs to L. So I will not be able to prove anything. So I go for next value. When m equal to 1, let's see what happens. P q raised to 1, r s raised to 1, t. Now since everything is repeated once, you will have your exact original string, okay, generated, that is 2 a's, 2 b's, 2 c's, and this is also belonging to L. I was not able to prove anything. Okay, so then what I do finally, when m equal to 2, let's see what happens when m equal to 2. P q square r s square t. Okay, this can be written as, how this can be written as? So that means p is repeated once, so what is p? P is a. Q is repeated twice, so it is ab, ab, so q is repeated twice. R is repeated once, that is single b. S is repeated twice and t is repeated once. Now you see the sequence that is required for us is only after all a's are exhausted, b should start, and only after all b's are exhausted, then c should start. But looking at here, you see the sequence is getting changed. After a there is b, but after b there is a again. So this is wrong sequence, so that means this string does not belong to L. Right? Hence we can say L is not context free. L is not a CFL. Okay. So this is how we can prove that a language is not CFL, because for at least one value of m ranging from 0 to infinity, if we are able to prove that the corresponding string does not belong to the language, then the language itself is not a CFL. Okay, so this is how we have proved. Let's have another example. In this problem, we are asked to prove, okay, that the language L equal to a raised to I, b raised to j, such that j is equal to I square is not context free. Okay, now let's see first of all what are the valid strings of this language. Okay, suppose I is 2, then j is nothing but I square, and what is 2 square? 2 square is 4. So one of the valid strings that I can take is, if there are 2 a's where I is 2, there should be 4 b's. Agreed? So this is one of the valid strings that I can take. Okay, so let me start the problem. So I will just say, when you calculate the length of this string, 1 2 3 4 5 6, so let's say let n equal to 5, which is arbitrary length. Then I say let the string x be equal to 2 a's and 4 b's be a valid string such that length of x is equal to 6. It should be less than n, because n is 5. Okay, then let x be split into 5 parts. Okay, what are the parts? Now let us assume that P equal to, let's say this single A is P, okay, then these two ABs, this is Q, okay, then this single B is R, this single B is S, and single B is T. Okay, I'm just randomly doing it. Okay, now in the previous problem also, why I had taken Q equal to AB was because I knew that when this Q is going to be repeated 2 times, the sequence is going to change. It would be AB, AB. Okay, so that kind of string will be invalid, because here sequence is very important. After only all eggs are over, then B should start. After all B's are over, then C should start. So for at least for some string, the sequence would be changing if this Q was repeated, and if I made this Q equal to AB. Okay, it would be AB, 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 and so on. And that was one of the ideas. Here also, only after all A's are over, then B should start. So, but one thought process behind considering Q equal to AB is again similar. Since I am taking it AB, if Q is repeated 2 times, then the sequence here would be AB, AB, and that would actually change the original sequence. So that string, I can say, it does not belong to the language, right? So you can similarly think on these lines. So as I have said, let P equal to A, then Q I am taking it as AB, R will be single B, S also will be single B, and T also will be single B. Fine. Now the condition, let's see whether conditions are satisfied such that, okay, length of QS, what is length of QS? Q, the length of Q is 2, S is 1, is 3, and 3 is greater than 0. It's satisfied. So this is the first condition, satisfied. And what's the second condition? Second condition should be together length of QRS. Let's check what is together length of QRS. Q is 2, R is length is 1, and S is 1. So 2, 3, and 4. So the value of this is 4. And just understand that n value that I have considered is 5. So the together length of QRS should be either less than or equal to n. So is 4 less than or equal to 5? Yes. So that's true. N, which is 5, is also satisfied. Okay. So now I can split the string. Okay. After splitting the string, now I have to take the value of m. Okay. Now for m equal to 0, okay, what happens? P Q raised to 0, R S raised to 0, T, how the string would look like? P will be repeated once, Q will not be repeated, R will be repeated once, so R is B, S will not be repeated, T will be repeated once, so I will get another B. Okay. Now you see, we had, the language tells you that the value of J should be square of I. Now here I is 1. See, in this string I is 1. So what is 1 square? 1 square should be also 1. So that means number of B's over here should have been 1. But how many B's are we getting here? 2. Is 1 square 2? No. Okay. And that's why I can clearly see that this string does not belong to the language. Okay. Therefore, we say we have proved that the given language L is not context free. Okay, so as I had already discussed while doing this pumping lemma in unit 2, now also I will tell you that while splitting the string into parts, you have to be slightly careful. You have to see what you require, and accordingly you do the splitting. Otherwise, it's a very, very simple problem, and pumping lemma, if the question is asked, you can easily get the marks if you solve it in a very simple way like this. Okay. So these were the two remaining topics in unit 3, okay, which I wanted to cover. So with this I conclude unit 3. Okay, in my handwritten notes there are also some extra things. For example, there is something called as left linear to right linear conversion, right linear to left linear conversion. Okay, so you can please go through those conversion procedures. Although it is not mentioned in the syllabus, it is not listed in the syllabus, but I thought it would be nice if you go through if asked, because it is not given as a topic on the syllabus copy, but still we should not be taking risk. Okay, so only I don't have time now to discuss this because a very short time is left and we have to start with unit 4. That's why I leave it to you. So there are two things which I want you all to do. One is the proof for this the closure properties, the proofs of each of these property. This is what I leave it to you. Just go through the proofs. You will find some of them in my handwritten notes. Also on the textbook some will be there. On the same lines how we did unit 2. Okay, on the same lines you have to prove this. And second thing what I want you all to go through is left linear, right linear grammars and all which are there in my handwritten notes. Right? Thank you.